Hello students and welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Shefali Nagpal, Associate Professor at Human Resource Development Center, Bhagat Phool Singh Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Sonipat. Let us start with the paper Development of the Management Thoughts, Principles, Types and Under Human Resource Management. Today we will study about Hawthorne experiment. After completing this module, you will be able to understand and gain familiarity about the illumination concept, to understand the impact and usefulness of this experiment in industries, to enable you to learn how to increase the efficiency through the illumination concept. Let us start with the introduction of the concept. Mayo's notoriety for being an administration master lay on the Hawthorne experiments, which he directed from the year 1927 to 1932 at the Western Electric Hawthorne Works in Cicero, Illinois. The processing plant utilized essentially the ladies laborers who collected the phone cabling gear. The point of investigation was to build up the effect of various states of work on workers' efficiency. At first, the Mayo analyzed the effect of changes in the production line condition, for example, lighting and dampness. He at that point went ahead to contemplate the impact of changes in business plans, for instance, breaks, hours and legislative initiative. Not exclusively were these experiment analyzes the main extensive scale investigations of working individuals, conditions at any point made, they likewise created a scope of surprising outcomes that changed the substance of people administration. George Elton Mayo was an Australian who ended up noticeably one of the best known administration scholars. After his test, take a shot at worker inspiration in the year 1920s and 30s. Mayo was a speaker at the University of Queensland when he chose to move to the University of Pennsylvania in America in 1923 and afterwards to the Harvard Business School in 1926, where he moved towards becoming a teacher of mechanical research. It was from here that he went up against the exploration that was to make him a standout amongst the well-known names in the administration history. The research on efficiency at large, assembling edifices like the Hawthorne Works, was made conceivable through the association among the businesses, colleges and government. In 1920s, with the help from the National Research Council, the Rockefeller Foundation and in the long run, HB School, Western Electric attempted a progression on behavioral examination. Initially, an arrangement of enlightenment test from the year 1924 to 27 embarked to decide the impacts of lighting on the laborer proficiency in 3 separate assembling offices. The records of the investigation uncovered no critical relationship amongst efficiency and light levels. The outcomes incited analysts to examine different variables influencing specialist yield. The following investigations started in 1927 concentrated on the hands-off to get together division, where the electromagnetic switches that main phone association conceivable were delivered. The fabricate of transfers required the monotonous get-together of pins, springs, armatures, separators, loops and screws. The Western Electric created more than 7 million transfers every year. As the speed of individual labor decided general generation levels, the impact of variables like rest periods and work hours in this office were individually noteworthy to the organization. In the different test room, an administrator arranged paths of 5 ladies to amass. The women dropped the finished transfer into a chute where a recording gadget punched an opening into persistently moving paper tape. The quantity of the gaps uncovered the generation rate for every laborer. Scientists were uncertain if efficiency expanded in this examination as a result of the presentation of the rest period, shorter working hours, wage motivation forces, the progression of the little gathering, or the different consideration the ladies got. In 1928, George Pennock, an administrator at Western Electric, swung to Elton Mayo at Harvard Business School for direction. We'll have a man turned out from one of the schools and saw what he could enlighten us regarding what we have discovered. This was a statement given by Pennock. Student, let us study the background of this experiment. Mayo's reputation as a management guru rests on the Hawthorne experiments, which he conducted from 1927 to 1932 at the Western Electric Hawthorne Works in Cicero, Illinois. The factory employed mainly women workers who assembled the telephone cabling equipments. The study aimed to establish the impact of the different conditions of work on employee productivity. Initially, Mayo examined the effect of changes in the factory environment, such as lighting and humidity. And then he went on to study the effect of changes in the employment arrangements, such as breaks, hours, managerial leadership. Not only were the Hawthorne experiments the first large-scale studies of working people condition ever made, they also produced a range of remarkable results that changed the face of the people management. Now let us study the definition of these experiments. As Taylor, through his analysis, expanding creation by supporting it, Elton Mayo and his adherents tried to build creation by acculturating it through behavioral examination, prominently known as Hawthorne experiments or studies. The reality remains that an introduction to the investigation of authoritative conduct will stay inadequate without a say of Hawthorne thinks about or tests. In the November 1924, a group of the scientist teachers from the eminent Harvard Business School of USA started researching into the human parts of work and working conditions at the Hawthorne plant of Western Electric Company, Chicago. The organization was delivering ringers and other electric types of gear for phone industry. Conspicuous teachers incorporated into the exploration group were the Elton Mayo, who was basically a psychologist, and Whitehead, who was basically sociologist, and William Dixon, who was organization delegate. The group led 4 separate exploratory and behavioral investigations over a 7-year time span. The Hawthorne tests were pivotal examinations in the human relations that were conducted in the vicinity of 1924 and 1932 at Western Electric Company Hawthorne Works in Chicago. Initially planned as enlightenment concentrates to decide the connection amongst the lightning and efficiency, the underlying tests were supported by the National Research Council of the National Academy of Sciences. In 1927, an examination group from Harvard Business School was welcomed to join the investigation after the brightening test drew unexpected outcomes. The 2 other arrangements of the tests, the transfer get-together test and the blank wiring test, took after the enlightenment tests. The investigations accepted the name Hawthorne test or concentrate from the area of the Western Electric plant. Finished up by 1932, Hawthorne ponders with the accentuation on the another elucidation of gathering conduct, where the reasons for the school of the human relation. Some of the major phrases of the Hawthorne experiments are as follows. One is the illumination experiments, second is the relay assembly test room experiments, third is mass interviewing program, fourth bank wiring observation room experiment. The experiments to conduct the effect of changes in illumination on productivity, illumination experiments were conducted in the year 1927 to 27. Experiments to determine the effects of changes in the hours and other working conditions on productivity, relay assembly test room experiments were conducted in the year 1927 to 28. Conducting plant-wide interviews to determine worker attitudes and sentiment, massed interviewing program was conducted during the period 1928 to 1930. And the fourth test, bank wiring observation room experiments were conducted in the year 1931 to 32 for determination and analysis of the social organization at work. Illumination experiments. The Enlightenment tests were embraced to discover how fluctuating levels of brightening, a measure of light at the work environment, a physical element, influence the efficiency. The speculation was that with higher brightening, an efficiency would be increased. In the first arrangement of test, a gathering of specialists was picked and set in two separate groups. One gathering was presented to fluctuating forces of brightening. Since this gathering was subject to test the transforms, it was named as test convention. On the other forum, called as controlling gathering, kept on working under the steady powers of enlightenment. The scientists found that they have expanded the knowledge in the exploratory gathering. Both gathering expanded generations. At the point when the power of enlightenment diminished, the generation kept on expanding in both the gatherings. The creation of the test assembles diminished just when the light was diminished to the level of moonlight. The decline was because of the light falling much beneath the ordinary level. Along these lines, it was reasoned that enlightenment did not have any impact on profitability, but rather something else was meddling with the efficiency. Around then, it was supposed that human calculates critical deciding profitability. However, with perspective was influencing, it did not know. Along these lines, another period of trials was embraced. Then, in the relay assembly test room experiments, the relay assembly test room experiments were designed to determine the effect of changes in the various job conditions on group productivity. As the illumination experiment could not establish a relationship between the intensity of the light and production. For this purpose, the researchers set up the relay assembly test room. 2 girls were chosen for it. These girls were asked to choose for more girls as co-workers. The work is related to assembly of telephone relays. Each relay consisted of some part which girls assembled into finished products. Output dependent on the speed and continuity with which the girls worked. The experiment started with introducing numerous changes in the sequence with duration of each change ranging from the 4 to 12 weeks. An observer was associated with the girls to supervise their work. Before each change was introduced, the girls were consulted. They were given the opportunity to express their viewpoints and concerns to the supervisor. In some cases, they were allowed to take the decisions on the matter concerning them. The following were the changes and the resultant outcomes of this. Firstly, the incentive system has been modified so that each girl's extra pay was based on the other 5 rather than the output of the large group, say 100 workers or so. The productivity increased as compared to before. Secondly, the 2 5-minute rests, one in the morning session and other in the evening session, were also introduced, which were increased to 10 minutes. The productivity again increased. Thirdly, the rest period was reduced to 5 minutes, but the frequency was increased. The productivity decreased slightly. The girls complained that frequent rest intervals affected the rhythm of the work. Fourthly, the number of the rest was reduced to 2 of 10 minutes each, but in the morning, coffee or soup was served along with a sandwich, and in the evening, snack was provided. The productivity increased. At fifth, changes in the working hours and workday were introduced, such as cutting an hour off in the end of the day and eliminating Saturday work. The girls were allowed to leave at 4:30 p.m. instead of the usual 5 p.m. and the later at 4 p.m. Productivity increased. As each change was introduced, absenteeism decreased, morale improved, less supervision was required. It was assumed that these positive factors were there because of the various factors being adjusted and making them more confident. At this time, the researcher decided to revert to an original position, that is, no rest and no benefits. Surprisingly, productivity increased further instead of going down. This development caused a considerable amount of redirection in thinking, and the result implied that productivity increased not because of the positive changes in the physical factors, but because of the change in the girls' attitude towards work and their work group. They developed a feeling of stability and sense of belongingness. Since there was more freedom of work, they developed a sense of responsibility and self-discipline. The relationship between the supervisor and the workers became close and friendly. In the third mass interviewing program, during the experiments, about 20,000 interviews were conducted between 1928 to 1930 to determine the employees' attitude towards company, supervision, insurance plan, promotion and wages. Initially, these interviews were conducted using direct questioning such as, do you like your supervisor? Or is he in your opinion fair? Does he have a favorites, etc. This method has the disadvantage of stimulating antagonism or the oversimplified yes or no responses, which could not get to the root of the problem. The method was changed to non-directive interviewing, where the interviewer was asked to listen to instead of talking, arguing or advising. The interview program gave valuable insights into human behavior in the company. Let us now study some of the major findings of the program. A complaint is not necessarily an objective recital of the facts. It is a symptom of the personal disturbance, the cause of which may be deep-seated. Secondly, objects, persons or events are carriers of social meanings. They become related to employee satisfaction or dissatisfaction only as the employee come to view them from his situation. The personal situation of the worker is a configuration composed of personal preferences involving sentiments, desires and interest of the persons and cultural reference constituting the person's human past and his present interpersonal relations. The position or the status of the worker in the company is a reference from which the employee assigns meaning and values to the events, objects and feature of his environment, such as hours of work, wages, etc. Fifth, the social organization of the company represents a system of value from which the worker derives satisfaction or dissatisfaction according to the perception of his social status and expected social rewards. The social demand of the workers are influenced by the social experience in groups, both inside and outside the work plant. During the interviews, it was discovered that workers' behavior was being influenced by the group behavior. However, this conclusion was not very satisfactory and therefore, researchers decided to conduct another series of experiments. As such, the detailed study of a shop situation was started to find out behavior of workers in small group. As we can see in this figure, lessons that has been adopted from these behavioral viewpoint studies and experiments are, it is divided in the matrix of 2 by 2. The employees are motivated by the social needs and association with others. Here, employees want to participate in the decisions that affect them. On the other side is employees' performance is more result of the peer pressure than management incentives and rules. Managers need to involve subordinate in coordinating their work to improve the efficiency. In the fourth experiment, bank wiring observation room experiment, these investigations were directed to discover the effect of little gathering of the people. In this trial, a group of 14 male laborers were framed into a little work meeting. The men were occupied with the gathering of terminal banks for utilization in phone trades. The work included appending wires with switches for certain gear utilized as a part of phone deals. The time-based compensation for every specialist was settled on the premise of the normal yield of every laborer, reward as additionally payable on the assumptions of the collective endeavor. It was normal that profoundly skilled specialists would convey weight on less capable laborers to build yield and exploit gather motivation design. In any case, the technique did not work and experts built up their particular standard of yield, and this was implemented enthusiastically by different strategies for social weight. The specialists referred to different explanations behind this conduct, viz. Dread of unemployment, dread of increment in yield, earning to secure moderate laborers, and so on. The Hawthorne test unmistakably demonstrated that a man at work is roused by more than the fulfillment of financial needs. The administration ought to perceive that individuals are social creatures and not simply monetary creatures. As a social being, they are the people from a gathering, and government should attempt to comprehend assembled states of mind and gathering brain science. The following were the main conclusions drawn by Professor Mayo by these experimental studies. First, social unit. A factory is not only a techno-economic unit but also a social unit. Men are social beings. This social characteristic at work plays a major role in motivating people. The output increased in relay room due to effective functioning of social group with warm relationship with its supervisors. Second, group influence. The workers in the group develop a common psychological bond uniting them as the panel in the form of informal organization. Their behavior is influenced by these groups. The pressure of the group rather than management demands frequently has the strongest influence on how productive workers would be. Group behavior. Management must understand that a typical group behavior can dominate or even supersede individual propensities. Fourth, motivation. Human and social motivation can play a greater role than little monetary incentives in moving or motivating and managing the employee group. Supervision. The style of control affects the worker's attitude to work and his productivity. A supervisor who is friendly with his employees and takes an interest in their social problems can get cooperation and better results from subordinates. Working condition. Productivity increases as a result of improved working conditions in the organization. Seventh, employee morale. Mayo pointed out that workers were not simply cogs in the machinery. Instead, the employee morale, both individual and in groups, can have profound effects on productivity. Eighth, communication. Experiments have shown that the output increases when workers have explained the logic behind various decisions, and their participation in decision making brings better results. Ninth is balanced approach. The problems of the employees could not be solved by taking one factor, that is, management could not achieve the results by emphasizing one aspect. All the things should be discussed and a decision is made for improving the whole situation. A balanced approach to the whole situation can show better results. Let us see what conclusions of these experiments was taken out. It took Mayo some time to work through the results of these experiments, particularly the seemingly illogical result, the relay assembly room operations. His most important conclusion was that the prevailing view of the time that people want to work purely for the money and living was deeply flawed. Work was much more. It was first and foremost a group activity in which other people and their behavior, are they colleagues, managers or observers, affected how well people worked. People morale and productivity were affected not so much by the conditions in which they work, out by the recognition they received. The rises in the productivity in the relay assembly room were achieved under the affected eye of the observers, not because the conditions made the workers feel good, but because the employees felt valued. The conclusions derived from these experiments are: first, social and psychological factors are responsible for the workers' productivity and job satisfaction. Only good physical working conditions are not enough to increase the productivity. Secondly, the informal relations among the workers also influences the employees' behavior and performance more than the formal relationship in the organization. Third, the employees will perform better if they are allowed to participate in the decision making affecting their interest. Fourth, employees will also work more efficiently when they believe that the management is interested in their welfare. Fifth, when employees are treated with respect and dignity, their performance will improve. Sixth, financial incentives alone cannot increase the performance. Social and psychological needs must also be satisfied to increase productivity. Good communication between the superior and the subordinates can improve the relations and the productivity of the subordinates. Lastly, special attention and freedom to express their views will improve the performance of the workers. Now let us also study the criticism of the Hawthorne studies, which was criticized on the following grounds. Firstly, it lacks validity. The Hawthorne experiments were conducted under the controlled situations. These findings will not work in the real setting. The workers under observation knew about the tests. Therefore, they may have improved their performance only for the experiments. Secondly, more importance to the human aspects. These experiments gave too much importance to the human aspect. The human aspect alone cannot improve productivity. The production also depends upon the technological and other factors. Thirdly, more emphasis on the group decision making. The Hawthorne experiments placed too much emphasis on group decision making. In a real situation, an individual decision cannot be neglected, especially when quick decisions are required. There is no time to consult others. Fourthly, it was criticized because of over-importance to freedom of workers. These experiments give a lot of relevance to the freedom of workers. It does not give importance to the constructive role of supervisors. In reality, too much of freedom to the workers can lower down their performance or productivity. Now students, let us summarize what we have studied in this module. Mayo's reputation as a management guru rests on the Hawthorne experiments, which he conducted from the year 1927 to 1932 at the Western Electric Hawthorne Works in Cicero, Illinois. The factory employed mainly women workers who assembled telephone cabling equipment. The study aimed to establish the impact of different conditions of work on employees' productivity. Initially, he examined the effect of changes in the factory environment such as lighting and humidity. And then he went on to study the effect of changes in the employment arrangement such as breaks, hours, managerial leadership. Not only were the Hawthorne experiments the first large-scale studies of working people's condition ever made, they also produced a range of remarkable results that changed the thinking of the managements. Thank you.